Welcome back into CBS Sports HQ. All right, do you like this uniform? Can you tell what team it is? That is Nebraska. You can faintly see like the N on the side of the helmet. These are the jerseys that Nebraska is going to be unveiling as their black alternates. They're going to be wearing them November 1st against USC. Like, I mean, it's cool. It's giving Army vibes, but okay, Nebraska. I mean, it'll be cool. It'll be cool. I don't know if the time of the game is a night game. That'd be cool into the night. Let's talk about Clemson here. If there's one thing we know about Dabo Swinney, he is confident. He's always confident. He always has a chip on his shoulder, and he is very confident about his team this season. Not only to be back-to-back winners of the ACC, they went 10-4 last season, made it to the playoff, lost to Texas in the first round, but really their overall schedule. Take a look at this from Dabo. I have had one undefeated team in 2018. We were the first 15-0 team in the history of major college football ever. And I think we're going to be the first 16-0 team. It's a race to do that. It is always fun talking about Dabo. Welcoming back in Tom Fornelli. You didn't go too far. Hope you got a cup of water or something here. What do you think about that? What he said about Clemson there? First 16-0 team. I mean, they kick off things against LSU. They have a fairly difficult schedule. What do you think?
I don't think that's going to happen, Amanda. I look at this Clemson team and I look at the schedule, and honestly, it's not just a Clemson thing. I think if you look at the way college football is working now, where you got the 12-team college football playoff, it could expand to 16 at some point in the future. I mean, we should probably never say never, but I think the idea of anybody being able to get through an entire regular season, especially with the way that the SEC and the Big Ten have kind of amassed all the premier programs in the country into two conferences, anybody being able to get through without losing a single game is going to be a very rare feat for anybody. So I love the enthusiasm. Shock of all shocks. Dabo is enthusiastic about his football team, but I think he should just worry about winning the ACC and then winning a playoff game instead of going undefeated.
Worry about that, and always worry about running down that ramp. Like, I am fearful for that man every time he takes the field. Okay, so let's play a little game, Fact or Fiction here. Fact or Fiction, there will be an undefeated national champion. I feel like I know which way you're going to go given what you just said, but give us your answer.
Fiction. I think that is one of the great things about with this 2025 season that we're looking at this year is that when the AP poll came out earlier this week, you know, there was a lot of it was very unclear as to who people really thought the best team was. Texas finished at number 1, but they were only a few points behind Penn State, and 6 different teams all received first-place votes, and all 6 of those teams had legitimate arguments for why they deserved to get a first-place vote, because there are so many questions about a lot of the top teams. We've seen quarterbacks graduate. We've also seen COVID eligibility run out for most players, which has kept teams from like Oregon being able to go to the portal and get themselves a 24-year-old experienced quarterback. You kind of have to rely on the kids you're recruiting at this point who don't have that experience. So going into this year, I look at it, there are 8 teams that I think you can make a realistic argument for that can win a national title in 2025. And when there are that many teams who can win it, that means none of them are going to be able to get through this field undefeated. I think that at a minimum, our national champion will have 2 losses this year.
Okay, so 8 teams, and I'm curious how many of them are out of the Big Ten. So here's your next Fact or Fiction. The Big Ten will win its 3rd straight national championship. Obviously, we had Michigan and then Ohio State. A lot of people very big on Penn State. Fact or Fiction here?
I'm going to go fiction. I think when I look at the Big Ten going into the season, Ohio State's your defending national champion. They're replacing a ton of players, but they are still Ohio State. They still have one of the most talented rosters in the country, so there's a very high floor there. I think that they are in the running for it, but going back-to-back is very difficult. We haven't seen it in a while since Georgia, but now with the expanded playoff, it's even harder. I look at Oregon, a team that's in a similar situation as Ohio State. A lot of question marks, a lot of new phases in important places. Don't know if I can really rely on them to be able to get through. They've never done it before. And then there's Penn State, and we've spent a lot of time talking about everything that Penn State has coming back, and it's true, they do, and especially when you're comparing them to everybody else in the country, it's a wealth of riches. But we kind of overlook the fact that they've lost both their best offensive and best defensive player to the NFL. They still have to replace those guys, and oh yeah, there's the whole thing about how Penn State hasn't been able to beat the Ohio States of the world, or the Notre Dames of the world, or the Oregons of the world. So to sit there and say that Penn State's going to win a national title this year, it's possible. I don't think it's likely. I'm going fiction.
Okay, a lot of fiction so far. I have a feeling I know this next one, but we're going to see. Factor fiction, the Big 12 will once again have only one college football playoff bid. This is a conference that says it's the deepest in the country. As a member of Oklahoma, a graduate there, even when we were in the Big 12, I knew that wasn't the case. They just added more teams, not necessarily better teams. So factor fiction, the Big 12 will only have one college football playoff bid yet again.
That's a fact. It's nothing against the Big 12 because the Big 12 really is the most entertaining conference in college football. But the reason it's entertaining is because nobody is that much better than anybody else in the league. So when you look at the way things are going to break down, the best team in that league will probably lose 2 games in the regular season, or if you include the conference championship. So when you've got a lot of 2-loss teams, but you don't have any of the marquee teams or marquee non-conference wins, it's hard to get 2 in for your conference championship loser. So I think it's more possible this year simply because, as we just discussed with the Big Ten, I won't be surprised at all if the Big Ten only gets 3 teams in the playoff this year, because I think after Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon, there's a lot of question marks as to who that 4th best team is, which opens the door. The problem that they face is I think that the ACC has a very good shot of getting 2 teams in again. Notre Dame's going to get Notre Dame's going to get in, and I think the SEC could get 4. So it's more possible this year than I think it was last year, but I just don't think it's very likely, so I'm going to go fact. They're going to get their conference champion will get in and nobody else.
I mean, I know you have Indiana there in the Big Ten. Are you just not into your team, Tom?
Let's listen.
Illinois, for those who don't know.
Indiana had a great season last year, got to the college football playoff. Illinois won 10 games. What, based on the history of Indiana or Illinois football, should lead us to be confident that either program will be able to do it again?
All right.
I'm not saying they can't, but I'm not going to predict that they will.
I now understand what kind of fan you are. I get it. Like, show it to me, and I'm just going to believe in the worst until I actually see it happen. I'm just
trying to keep the Illini humble, Amanda. I want to keep them hungry. I don't want to, they're getting too many flowers this offseason.
So do we need to keep Florida humble? Their quarterback, DJ Lagway, he's been injured. He's been in a boot, dealing with a calf injury. Billy Napier says, oh, no, everything's fine. He's going to be good for week 1. Fact or fiction, Florida fans should be worried about DJ Lagway.
Fact. I love DJ Lagway's talent, but the truth of the matter is he's had a very difficult time staying healthy ever since he showed up on campus in Gainesville. He got in the field last year after Graham Mertz was hurt and got hurt, missed time. You went into the offseason. He wasn't able to throw the football in the spring because he was dealing with an injury. Then he finally is able to start getting back into action that way. You get into camp this summer, and guess what? He's banged up again, and he's not the only person on that team injured. It feels like every single day we're hearing news about a new Florida Gator, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, who's dinged up and might be missing some time in the regular season. Now, Lagway is the most important one of them, but they're all very important. So, yes, if I'm a Florida fan and I'm looking at that schedule that I've got to play that year, and I've got to look at DJ Lagway, who's had a very difficult time staying healthy, yes, I am very worried about his ability to do so because he hasn't shown the ability to do so.
All right, one more. It has to do with another quarterback. Fact or fiction, pretty easy here. Arch Manning will win the Heisman Trophy.
Fiction, and it's got nothing to do with Arch Manning. I think Arch is a very talented player, and I think he is going to live up to his name and be one of the best college quarterbacks in the country this year. The problem is he's never going to be able to live up to the hype that has been around his name. He's going to have to throw for 1 billion yards and 100 touchdowns to live up to all the discussion about him every single week of the season, and that's going to cause voter fatigue. It happens every single year. We see it with the favorites, the guys who receive the most hype. So he is going to have one of the best seasons of all time to bring home the Heisman Trophy. I like a lot of other names further down the board. Actually, my favorite pick, not even on that board you're looking at 12 names. It's Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. I think he's going to be the focal point of that offense and put up incredible numbers. He's going to have an Ashton Genty-like season, and we saw how close Genty came to winning last year.
That would be a lot of fun. Fact or fiction, Arch Manning returns to college.
Fact. He's coming back for 2 years. Sorry to all the NFL teams tanking for him this year. It's not going to work.
Tom, I appreciate it. Flannel season for Tom Fornelli just around the corner. That's the only reason you need to watch Cover 3 Podcast. Best flannel collection in the world. Cover 3 Podcast talking about some of those top quarterback battles with teams like Ohio State, Notre Dame, yet to name a starter. We also want to mention, when it comes to week 1, our college football pregame show. We are going to be on the road Florida State, they've been talking a lot of smack about taking on Alabama. Alabama headed to Doe for week 1. Make sure to tune in to our pregame show on August 30th, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern.